There's a moment every entrepreneur hits. You're working harder than you ever have. The calendar is packed, but the inbox feels endless. That to-do list never gets shorter, and somehow the business still isn't growing the way that it should be. But the problem isn't effort. The problem is leverage. Welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm your host, John Davidson, and every week I'm sitting down with founders and top performers who have found that lever. The hire, the system, that mindset shift that changed everything. This show is for the business owner who's ready to stop being the bottleneck and start being the architect. Let's get into it. All right, welcome to another episode of the Leverage Podcast. I am your host, John Davidson, and I am thrilled to be joined by an incredible entrepreneur today. This is someone who has made her mark in the beauty industry, working for other companies, rising up the ranks quickly, and then founding her own business. And not only is she a great business person, but she's making a huge impact in the lives of those seeking to enter the beauty industry. Kiara Figueroa, thank you for joining me today on the Leverage Podcast.
Thank you for having me. That was a very nice intro. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Honesty is the best policy, my mother taught me. So I am super excited to get into this with you because I think you have quite a bit of a different path and a different business than a lot of our guests do. But so let's get into it because I think we're going to learn a lot from you. And I'm interested to hear what's different and also what's the same with a lot of successful folks in business. So take me to the start of when you started working and you were looking at the beauty industry and you're saying, hey, I need a job. I'm going to do this. And how did you find yourself here today?
So I always like to say I didn't choose beauty, but beauty chose me. When I was in undergrad, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And when I would sat in some law classes, I was like, I don't want to do this. This is very uninspiring. I don't love it. And at the time I got recruited by Mac, and I very quickly realized that I could turn it into a career on the corporate side of things. And the amount of effort that I was going to put into law, I would just put that same amount of effort into the beauty industry.
Right.
So that's just what I did. Rose up the ranks, worked for a bunch of different beauty companies. And I very quickly realized beauty is a industry that is very reactive versus proactive when it comes to technology, especially. The point for me was at Mac when I created an Instagram right when Instagram had like its very first logo, and I had a bunch of famous people in my store. And I created an Instagram. I got my hand slapped because I was like, this is the way we're going to generate business. And that was like my first aha that like technology is not being leveraged in this industry. Did a quick pivot to tech and to build my professional toolkit, and then went back to beauty in a tech role. And that all of that, those experiences and that background kind of led to me where I am today of acquiring the school.
Super cool. Take me through the jump from makeup into tech. How did that transition happen?
I spent about 3 months trying to do it on my own, and I did a really good job, but I would make it to the final interview and I would get like, we love you, but we need you to have tech experience. It's like, well, if you would give me the opportunity, I could do it. So you know what I mean? And I think for me, this was one of my most valuable lessons that I learned just in life and as an entrepreneur is always pay someone to get you from point A to point B faster. I hired a career coach and he helped me talk or be able to identify those transferable skills, speak to them, and really take ownership of the interview. And within 43 days, shout out to Career Sprout, I got a job that was able to break into the tech industry in a much lower role quick, but then within 6 months got back to where I was, and then the rest is history.
That's a great point that you did step into a lower role, stepping into a new industry, right?
Yeah.
Share with our listeners who are in a current industry and they're looking to really make that industry change. What should you do to get your foot in the door? But also, what are some mistakes to avoid as you are trying to kind of reset, apply, skills and experience that you have, but these recruiters are saying, hey, we need this if you're going to come in at the level you are in your current industry.
Mhm. I think the biggest thing that I learned was don't apply, even though you may be like, for example, I went into tech sales. So not even though I would be technically qualified or have the skill set for three different positions, you need to choose one and just go after that one so your whole resume speaks to that very in a very strong manner. And
Yeah.
then be able to really identify even before you go into the interview what skills are transferable, what am I missing and not know how to do, so then I can really acknowledge that in the interview before they bring it up for me. So an example of that is, these tech platforms, how are you going to sell them? Well, I had to know the features and functions for over 100 different SKUs. I can learn about your 5 different tech stacks, no problem. What I don't
Yeah.
know how to do is cold call and outbound, so that's what I'm really going to focus, and to be able to proactively notice where my areas of growth were going to be. I mean, that's really what that career coach helped me realize.
That's great advice. I can relate from the standpoint that years ago I was at a design studio and it was a startup. I started as the first employee and we grew it to quite a bit of a bigger team. But at a startup, it's all hands on deck,
Yes.
right? So some days I'm doing the real cool stuff that you see on Instagram. Other days, I'm, reaching out to clients, I'm tracking down payments, I'm, doing our social media marketing, I'm doing some sales, or maybe I'm folding t-shirts to mail out to the client,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so I remember when I was like, okay, what is this next step? And I wanted to get into the marketing agency
Yeah.
world. And so I remember going to this recruiter and I wrote down all the different tasks I did and looked up like what all the different roles that I could potentially perform, and I was like, oh, I've performed the tasks of like 11 different
Yeah.
roles.
Yeah.
So I roll up to the recruiter really thinking I'm something hot, and and he's like, John, I can't do anything with this.
Yeah. It's too much.
It's way too much. He said, pick
Yeah.
one thing
Yeah.
and focus on one thing. So what I did, I looked at everything I did and I noticed that the highest paying role was project management.
Hmm.
And so while I did not seek to be a project manager long term, it was a role that paid what I needed it to pay
Hmm.
and got my foot in at an agency where then I was able to kind of move and shift around.
Hmm.
But I hear that, I just want to say that story because it's funny, you're saying the same thing. So listeners, if you're looking for a new role, don't tell everybody everything you can do.
Yeah. Please don't.
Prioritize, pick one, and identify. I think what you're saying, Kiara, too, is like the consistent tasks, right? So,
Yeah.
like, hey, sales or business development for this. Well, I did sales and business development for this. So, do I need some education on your product, on your industry? Yes. Do I have the ability to do that? Am I resourceful? Also, yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is why I'm the best for the job. Well, I want to take you to now the founding of the Skin and Makeup Institute, or I should rather say the acquisition.
Yes.
So you've gone from makeup, you've gone into tech, you're doing your thing there. What brought you back into the beauty industry originally?
You're gonna laugh, honestly. So while I was because I was in the Bay Area, and as much as I loved working for Salesforce and the companies, I was very, very happy. Coming from an industry or like a whole career of working with nothing but primarily women and like the glam and the beauty, like seeing a Patagonia vest every day was just not doing it for me. So I really missed beauty and like all of that came with it. So I applied to, I was the senior manager for the global retail experience for Benefit Cosmetics, and it was back in beauty in a tech role. And I was very, very thankful for that position. I learned so much because it was basically the intersection of all of my professional career into one role.
How
But
cool.
very quickly after I got that role, I realized that I was doing presentations and things for C-suite. And because I was in tech, I was moving. I was used to, like you said, you just move so quickly in tech and you have to
Yes.
be scrappy. And coming from that world and then going back into beauty, which is moves a lot slower. I'm like, hey, I can automate this. I can build this. And they were just kind of like, just slow down. No worries. So for me, that was really that aha moment. It's like, no, you need to go figure out your purpose and what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Um, because plus I'm an employee. As an employee, I rather ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yes.
So I started on this like soul searching journey of, okay, what do you want to do? What is your purpose? And I realized I want to build generational wealth and I want to buy back my time. And in order to do that, I need to be really thoughtful of like what is going to fill my bucket, because that is going to show through in the work that you do. I don't just want to do anything because it makes a lot of money.
Hmm.
So that's really how, through soul searching, I was introduced to Cody Sanchez's Business Buying Mastermind. That's how I really got into it. I, again, taking what I knew from Career Sprout, you pay someone to get you from A to B faster. Once I realized
Yep.
this is what I'm doing, I paid the money for her mastermind, and I spent a year learning how to buy a business. And then I moved from the Bay to Phoenix because it was important for me to build and buy where I'm from. And then I spent another year looking for the right business to buy. And then this deal for the Skin and Makeup Institute came to.
Oh, wow. So are you saying that your a primary reason for moving from the Bay Area to Arizona is because you knew that the real estate would be lower cost and then you figured it out, or are you saying something a little different than that?
No, I think just I knew that like if I want to create whatever I'm going to acquire, I wanted to do it because I'm from Arizona. So that
Okay.
was important for me to like build something, the company, whatever it was, in Arizona first.
Hmm.
Because in my mind, I was even thinking like, oh, if I have a laundromat or a, I don't know, storage unit, like I can give my dad a cute little job that he's like happy to
Yeah.
help, like work at. That's just kind of what also I was thinking. I just wanted a business that was where I'm from that I could build. Yes, knew I wanted expansion, but I wanted it primarily to start where I'm from.
Super cool. And with what you're doing at the Skin and Makeup Institute is you are really, providing the keys to, young folks who really want to start their career specifically in the beauty industry.
Yes.
Was there something about that mission that made you choose this business, or was it the fact that you had a chance to get back into the beauty industry while being a business owner, or a combination?
I think it was a combination because I spent a year looking at very like unsexy businesses and knowing that operationally, like that is one of my wheelhouses. I'm great at sales. I can build teams that are great salesmen. I can build automation processes so everything within the business works smarter, not harder. I know how to buy tech, build tech, all of that. But I knew there was going to be a learning curve. Like, I don't know anything about towing, so there was like something,
Yeah.
there would have been a much larger learning curve. So when this deal was brought to me, I was not looking at trade schools like that. But once I met the owners, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the one that I've been waiting for, because I know
Fantastic.
this industry to a certain extent. It meets everything in my deal box. Like, this is the one that I've been waiting for.
Yeah, and so this business has been in business for about 25 years,
Yes.
right? And so there's pros and cons to everything. And so I would imagine that if you're starting your own makeup institute, okay, awareness, right? Maybe the credibility, just because you're starting, no one's have heard of it before, these different things. But there are some other challenges when it comes to acquiring a business, especially if you're putting your mark on it, not
Yes.
just switching who the key holder is, right? Share a little bit about how you have maintained the culture of a company that's been well known over 25 years, but also put your own twist that includes technology, includes, the training for today's
Mhm.
beauty employee.
So I think I would have to start even before the acquisition. So I secret shopped all my top competitors before I acquired, because I wanted to know, okay, what is the industry at large missing? What do we do well? What do I want my customer journey to look like, from start to finish? That's how I really, even before the acquisition started, because then I could work backwards from that. Okay, now that I know how I want it to look, what kind of tech stacks are we going to need to make sure that this is a seamless process? But then when we talk about culture, I transparently, the culture here was not great, and I did not know that.
Mm,
Obviously, you don't get to meet the team before you acquire. You just show up on the first day when they're handing you the keys. So
right.
I completely just restructured everything, brand new team. And because I did those secret shops before, I knew exactly who I needed to be, and if I were to put out a job ad, where I would want those employees to come from. And because I am not an esthetician that chose business, I'm a business owner that chose beauty. When I was recruiting people to come here, I'm like, hey, I've identified this as a problem. We teach estheticians, or the beauty industry at large, teach them how to get a license, but not to have a career. This is what I'm building. And because they have lived that and they've seen that, they're like, yes, I'm going to come and I'm going to help you build this thing. So being able to do that, everyone here is just so bought into what we're building and the purpose that we have, owning their own departments. I encourage failure. I don't care if you mess up, just tell me like what you did wrong, what you're going to do differently next time, and what you learned. Fantastic. Now let's keep it moving. And then we've created, it's a culture that everyone is a part of here. And I have the best team.
That's really amazing. It makes all the difference who you work with, even more than what you do. So we've talked a little bit about, okay, in the past or these other institutes, people are just getting licensed, right? And you have clearly identified through your career what it takes to have a successful career in the beauty industry. Share a little bit behind the scenes. What does it take, and how are you actively preparing your students for the life and the work ahead?
I think a lot of the estheticians or service providers come into the industry, even if they're a hairstylist, if you will, and with the goal of wanting to have their own salon suite, but they don't understand what it really takes to be able to have a steady clientele. How do you generate clientele? So what they teach them, there's 3 mods in our curriculum, and the last mod is specifically for financial literacy. Like, do you know what a P&L is? Business fundamentals. Okay, do you know how many facials you have to do daily, weekly, monthly to pay your rent, your internet, and a livable salary? We also do like LinkedIn interview prep for those who who maybe want to work for someone else. We make them sign up for their state boards even before they leave us. So they have all those foundational things even before they leave. And then once they are licensed and graduated, we have a graduate development program. So they can come back and work as a 1099 employee in our spa. So it's kind of like not a use it or lose it with everything that they've just learned. And then they can also take that time either while they're interviewing to come back and spend time with us as well to like prep, ask questions. And that's what that program is for too.
That's super cool. I love how you're kind of going backwards, right? You're starting with, what are the opportunities available in the industry and what do people need to know? And even that, those like logistical things of like, oh, how many appointments do I need to have a month, right? You might be looking at this industry and thinking, oh, this sounds great. I'm working on my own schedule. I get to be in the industry I love. And it's like, okay, well, these cost X amount. So you got to do X amount to do this. You're going to have people canceling. You're going to have to do other stuff too, beyond just helping people with their makeup, right? So you're really opening people's eyes and preparing them ahead. I can relate from the standpoint. So I used to skateboard for a living before my business career. And so I went back to college late after I had, tried my hardest to be a pro skateboarder. And so, but I got such a better education because I had so much life experience. And so I'm in marketing class, I'm like, oh, when I was selling cell phones at the mall, the reason T-Mobile was doing XYZ are because of these 4 Ps of marketing that I'm learning about right now. And then also I was driven to learn this stuff and to get this degree so I could go be great. It wasn't like, hey, mom's kicking me out if I don't pass this test. So I'm curious with the experience of your students, how many of them are at the very beginning, maybe right after high school? How many are coming back from something else? And what does that mixture look like at your institute?
You mean like of the people that enroll?
Yes.
So it's much different than I thought when I like acquired this. Why I was thinking it's going to be everyone coming from out of high school. So I was like, okay, we need to be at every high school recruiting. all these things at their career days. But very quickly, I actually got a score mentor, and she was like, I don't think you realize exactly who your client, because that's not who it is. So as we're gathering all this data and we're looking at actually who is enrolling, the vast majority of my students are the career switchers. So it's one or two kinds of career switchers. They either after high school immediately got to work, and now they're like, that's fine, but I need something for me. I'm no longer fulfilled.
Yeah.
So those are usually people like early 20s. But then we also have someone who might have had an actual career their whole life, and they're like, I'm no longer fulfilled. I want to do something for me now. Or we have a lot of nurses that just are leaving the industry, phlebotomists, things like that. And so they're kind of taking their unique experience coming here so they can go be, I don't know, injectors or work in a dermatology office, things like that. So those are our two primary students here.
Cool. I want to take you back to the technology in the beauty industry. And as I think about it as an outsider, it seems like, okay, this is a legacy industry, right? Makeup and beauty is probably as old as time, right? We've always wanted to look our best. And so legacy industries are, especially industries that are just automatically needed at all times. I think, industries and companies don't innovate when they don't have to.
No.
So that whole thing of oh geez, I totally forgot the quote I was going to come up with, but necessity. There we go. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? And so I think we innovate when we have to, and so that's why you see these companies like, oh, maybe a Blockbuster or a GameStop or something that's been so successful for so long, and then they never had to innovate until it was too late, right? So you've pointed out the gap in the market with technology, and I think with social media and Instagram, especially Instagram, like, because it's such a visual medium that, like, okay, I could see beauty there. But tell me, beyond the visual social media, what is the role for technology in the beauty industry that you've identified?
I think it comes from two places. From an education space, first of all, like we need to, it's even in our curriculum, like AI in the workplace, because a lot of these girls, a business plan, for example, they don't, it can seem like a very daunting task to come up with. That's like, no, this is how you can leverage AI. These are how you ask questions to get the best output. So things like that, just from a student perspective, equipping them how to work smarter and not harder, and leverage the tools that they might not even know that are out there, that are available to them, and many times for free. And then from a business standpoint, I think just like all of the automations, like when I did all of the secret shops, it was a very clunky process across the board. From like just feeling very like warm and welcome when you get a text message from someone, or the follow-up, all of that. But even like the data around, I know I went to a conference and there was a lot of school owners there, and there were a good amount that even just like basic data, they just didn't have the platforms, and they weren't collecting that to be able to really analyze their business. So even from that perspective, because I don't want it just to be me, like everyone in my department, when we meet for a one-on-one, you need to give me a synopsis of how you're performing. So I think that, and even within, if you think about it from the industry leaders transparently, like there was a presentation where they're like, hey, we need to change our mind about AI. Meanwhile, my students are here, or it's already in our curriculum. So by the time they catch up and like realize AI is not bad,
your leaps and bounds
we're
beyond
gonna be light years ahead. Just like from a mentality to standpoint.
That's interesting. Yeah, I totally get there's the business practices, the administrative type stuff. But also, one thing that I've utilized AI most with is learning, just supercharging my learning. And, I'm 43 years old, so I've got a level of experience pre-AI, and just folding this stuff into my existing knowledge base with new stuff. I'm just, it takes me 15, 20 minutes. I'm reading, I'm listening, and I'm like, now I have a whole new skill set and tools to then apply that new skill set, right? Yeah. Well, I want to learn a little bit more about your experience and some of the lessons that you've learned, maybe for the lower times in addition to the successes. But first, let's listen to a message from our sponsor, Sphere Rocket.
Business owners and entrepreneurs will place a proven executive assistant VA for just $4 to $8 an hour, and if they don't perform, you don't pay. Imagine freeing up 20 plus hours a week by someone handling your most time-consuming tasks like admin work, managing emails, scheduling meetings, and so much more. This one hire could transform your productivity and give you back the time you need to focus on growing your business. At Sphere Rocket VA, we make this possible in as little as 7 days. We'll place a proven executive assistant VA in your business for just $4 to $8 an hour, and your VA will take over day-to-day administrative tasks, help manage your email and calendar, follow up with past clients, giving you back 20 plus hours a week so you can increase your sales and even enjoy more personal time. And here's the best part. If they don't give you back 20 plus hours a week in the first month, you don't pay Sphere Rocket a dime. We've done this for thousands of business owners, and now it's your turn to see the results. Click the link around this video to schedule a demo and discover how this one hire can completely change how you run your business. Remember, if within 45 days the VA doesn't perform, you don't pay.
All right, we are here once again with Kiara Figueroa. She is the owner of the Skin and Makeup Institute, and she is sharing all sorts of insights in the beauty industry, tech, education, all sorts of things. Kiara, one of my favorite questions I love asking guests is not just about the successes, because the successes are exciting and fun to celebrate and great to share, but it's the failures, because typically that's what teaches us the greatest lessons. So take me back to a time where maybe something felt like a major failure at the moment, but now looking back, it resulted in one of the most important lessons you've learned so far.
Whew. Would probably be right when I acquired this school. There was a breach with the previous owners of our purchase agreement. And as a new entrepreneur, I looked at this situation like, oh, I'm a failure. I need to fix this now. And I was so afraid to tell anyone what was going on. And I had reached a breaking point where I started, because also when I really thought back, it's like, okay, why am I afraid to tell my friends? Like, it's more of a reflection on me than them, because I'm afraid to look like a failure to them.
Yeah.
So by the time I reached my breaking point, and I did confide in those closest around me and who are people that, helped me get here, like my banker, my lawyer, and things like that, and looped in important people, other industry leaders, the way everyone wrapped their arms around me and was just trying to help me ideate, I felt so silly for not sharing sooner. And it's like, you build this group of people, these trusted advisors, share with them, because you know what I mean? And that was just like an aha moment, like, girl, that was like a huge lesson for me, because it said more about me than absolutely it did about them and my own insecurities of being viewed as a failure. So
yeah, that's very well said. You talked earlier in the podcast about, you're willing to invest in ways for you to supercharge or speed up your success, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that surely delays our success is pretending like we've got it all together.
Yes.
Right? And so while we don't need to be like 100% transparent with the public.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Because there is something to perception is reality. People are attracted to success, and you may be successful even with some embarrassing drawbacks even.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm hearing from you is having that core community that you can be 100% vulnerable with.
Yes.
And it's okay to land on your face in front of them and to give that feedback, because then you're getting support, but you're also getting advice from your coach, from your mentors, from your community of, well, do this next time, right?
Yeah. And overwhelming. It's like, well, why didn't you say something sooner? It's like, because I'm the problem. So that was something that I learned, and it really showed me. I mean, I'm always wanting to learn. I'm always trying to be a student and surround myself with people who have been experts in their field. But it just showed me how much more I needed to do that, and be meeting them with these people regularly. So I learned that very quickly.
That's a great point. And there's a quote, one of my favorite quotes is, don't take criticism from people who you wouldn't go to for advice.
Exactly.
When I heard that, I was like, I'm also trying to apply that over and over because it's a lot harder to apply than it
Yeah.
is to say. But that's a great one too, is just like number one, like don't worry about other people's criticism if you
Yeah.
wouldn't they wouldn't be in that circle, but also develop that circle
Yes.
because like that criticism is important from the right
And I
folks.
was so thankful too because one, they were like, wasn't your fault. Either way, it was more of a reflection of like, hey, speak up and trust your trusted advisors. But it was just, I don't know, it just felt so great to be able to not feel like I was carrying the weight. Even just the fact of like sharing it out loud with someone else,
Yeah,
I just felt like this massive weight, like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize how much I was holding
yeah.
or carrying with me. So yeah.
That's a great point. Well, to take you even further back. So, let's take yourself back to day one, not of founding the institute, but let's go back to day one beauty industry. Or
Yes.
maybe if you were enrolled in your current institute as a student, right? What piece of advice would you give yourself if you're going to talk to your former self on day one of starting your career?
Mm, what piece of advice?
It might be something that you've done well,
I
or it could be do something you've done different.
I think that honestly, and this sounds so cliche, but it's so true. If it scares you, that's even more of a reason to take a step forward in that direction.
Hmm.
Um, because even like one of my first days at Mac, I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do makeup. I've never done makeup. They're like, you're fine. You'll figure it out. And you know, they help you. But like the second day, I was given a bride, and then that same kind of mentality of just
Yeah.
like, girl, you just got to go for it.
Yeah.
And then I was very successful in the makeup industry. Same thing with tech. It's like, all right, I'm surrounded by tech, living in the Bay. I want to go for it. I don't think I'm good enough. Nope, just go do it. Same thing like business ownership. Can I really do this? Yes, you can. You just need to take that step and don't wait for to be perfect to try and or whatever plan. Just go for it because
Yeah.
all those mistakes, that's really what's going to make you the entrepreneur or whatever it is that you're wanting to be. It's just going to make you better faster by just taking that first step towards
That's fantastic advice. I remember stepping into a new role years and years ago, and one of the positives was you become numb to trying things for the first time in a positive way.
Yes.
Because, when you're starting out, you're like, I've never done it this before. What if I do it wrong? What you realize is, first of all, a lot of people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Secondly, the best way to learn is by doing. And
Yes.
so there's a lot of people on this show who, the answer to a similar question to that is just get started.
Yes.
You can plan, you can strategize, you can forecast, but the greatest feedback is when you go boots on the ground,
Mm.
start dialing the phone, whatever the thing is, to get going, and it super speeds up your process. So I think that is fantastic advice. I appreciate you sharing that. Just two more questions for you.
Yes.
So I hope you don't feel too grilled so
No, not
far.
at all.
So we got two more in us. Okay, great. You have made such a huge impact across the beauty industry and in the lives of a lot of people. You are helping to revolutionize, the adoption of technology in this industry. You are setting up young people up for success for careers for years and years to come. What do you want people to remember about what you're building and the impact you're making when you're done?
My team and I are building a school and I want it to outlive me. That's really what we're doing because I want to be known that we're changing the trajectory of people's lives and really setting them up for success. And not only the students that I have, but the women that are helping me build it as well. I want to bring them up with me that we can really, because I thought in the beginning, like, oh, I'm going to be the best school in Arizona. And then after being in the industry for a while, first 90 days, I'm like, oh no, we have the opportunity. We are entering at a very unique time. We have the opportunity to really make an impact nationally. And I just want to help women know that you can go into a trade, be very successful, make money, and feel empowered to do the thing that's going to make you feel most fulfilled. And like wake up every day and excited to go to work, whether it's working at a spa or working for yourself.
That's right. Yeah, that's an incredible message. Last question for you, for those listening, whether they're saying, hey, I want to get into the beauty industry, whether I'm starting out or I need a career change, or they just people who want to follow your journey, and your success and be inspired by you. How can people get in touch with you in the ways that you'd like them to?
Yeah, so if they are wanting to learn more about like just the industry as a whole, I would recommend they come and tour just so they can see firsthand the vibe of the school, everything that would be in the curriculum. Could you see yourself here, even if it isn't at my school, to get a taste of the industry? You can do that very easily on our website, the Skin and Makeup Institute. Book a tour is right on the front page. Or alternatively, you can DM us on any of our socials, TikTok, Instagram. We are very responsive. And if you have questions, my personal Instagram is Kiara Anel. So happy to answer questions there as well. Because we're here to help. So
Fantastic. I love that. Well, listeners, I greatly encourage you to reach out to Kiara, both to benefit on the beauty side or the employment side, or just, to pay attention to somebody who is just a mover and a shaker and doing incredible things in business. So, Kiara Figueroa, thank you again for joining me today on the Leverage Podcast.
thank you, John. I appreciate it.